Hi everybody, my name is Gary Palmer here in Pittsfield, Illinois, and it's about 25 to 5 in the morning, and we're going to make burgoo today. Kind of give you a rundown here of what you're going to need. Chicken breast or chicken thighs. I like using thighs. 3-pound roast, onion, carrots, cabbage, potatoes, small bag of corn, diced tomatoes, 1 can of tomato sauce, I use 2, celery salt, paprika, salt and pepper, and liquid smoke. Starting with the recipe. So as you can see, we're going to do a little look around here. We got some chicken thighs boiling, and I've got a roast, about a 3-pound roast. I'm getting ready to cut it up and chunk it up and put it in the water with the chicken. Let it cook together. Now, in watching people make burgoo over the years, one thing you want to have is what I call a scum grabber, because you get that right there. So you need to get one of these things here. I call it the scum grabber, and you want to get all your scum you see on top of the water, get that off of there. You want to let your beef and chicken cook for at least half an hour, 45 minutes, and then once it's done cooking, dip it out on separate plates, let it cool a little bit, and then I'll show you what we'll do with the beef, and then we separate the chicken from the bone. Okay, chicken and beef's about done. What I do is I'll cut my heat back. It'll just kind of simmer a little bit, and then take your beef, put it on one plate, take your chicken out, put it on another. What we're going to do is give this time to cool down a little bit, not too long, maybe 15 minutes to half an hour. And while that's cooling, we'll start picking it apart. Plate full of chicken thighs, plate full of the roast. Now we're going to pull the chicken apart here in just a little bit, but the roast here, I'm going to show you a little trick that I've come up with that will save you about 2 hours of stirring time, and it's called the Ninja, and it's right there. There's the Ninja. What we'll do is we'll drop the beef down into it, and we'll mince it real fine, throw it back in the pan, and it cuts the stirring time in half. And when you're done with your burgoo, you don't even realize what has happened. Okay, now here's what the Ninja does to the beef. Stirring time, 2 hours off. The roast has been minced. So now what we do is we just add it back to our broth. So the beef is in there now. Now it's time to start pulling the chicken apart. Okay, now we've deboned our chicken, the thighs. I think it was about 10 thighs, a big family pack. There's the bones, there's the skin. Now, you want to save that skin, because what I'll do here in a little bit is I'll take a knife and I'm going to cut that skin up real fine and add it back into the burgoo. So now we got to pull the pieces of chicken apart. I don't like to mince it because the chicken kind of gives it the texture that you find in burgoo. So you want to turn your heat back up a little bit, get it kind of moving again, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now I've taken the skin off of the chicken and I've taken a knife and I've cut it up, and we're going to add it to the meat, and then we'll let that start cooking. So now we got our beef, our chicken, and our broth and skin. Now we start cooking. Okay, got our chicken and our beef cooking. Now we're going to use add some potatoes. I peeled, there's probably about 8 to 10 small red potatoes. You can use brown. I bought these red potatoes. They was on sale, and I've had them for a little bit, so I went ahead and diced some of them up. And if you noticed, I've cut them up kind of real fine so they'll cook easier. Just cuts down on the stirring time. That's what you got to think about, because that's a lot of your time in making this, is you got to stir it all the time. So now we've added potatoes, got our beef, okay, we got our potatoes in. Now I've cut up probably about a half a head of cabbage. You can see there. We're going to add our cabbage. Cabbage is good. You always got to try some cabbage. It's good. Okay, we're going to add our onions next. Okay, as you can hear, I got my fan going up there. I'm going to shut her down so you can hear me. Now we're getting ready to add the onions. I took a whole onion, diced it up. We're going to add a whole onion to it. Now we got the beef, the chicken, cabbage, the onions, and the potatoes. And also, you'll notice back here I have a pan of water that I keep hot, because once this starts cooking it'll render down and you want to add your own little hot water there. So now we're going to dice up some carrots and throw in there. Okay, now we're getting ready to add our carrots. This is a can of carrots. That's all that is, a can of cooked carrots, diced carrots. So I diced them up in the little dices. You'll have people say, "Oh, you know, I put whole carrots in mine, blah 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 blah." I'm telling you right now, it'll take a week to Sunday for them to cook down. So a can of cooked carrots, dice them up, throw them in there. Now the main thing is stir. Keep stirring. You don't want to scorch it. I was making burgoo one time and got over on the computer, sitting on the kitchen table. And when I got back over to my burgoo, when I had touched the bottom of the pan, I'd realized that I had scorched the bottom of it. So I immediately turned the heat off, grabbed another pan, and dumped everything into the other pan. And sure enough, there on the bottom was the black scorchy stuff. If I would have went ahead and stirred it up, I'd have ruined the whole pot. So just remember, if you think you've scorched it, grab you another big pan, dump everything out into your other pan, and then clean the bottom of your pan and then put it right back in there. So I can't stress enough, keep stirring. You have to stir this. You can't let it set. You got to keep stirring. Keep your heat kind of moderately there. I think I got it on almost 8, around 7. Okay, we're still cooking. I wanted to remind you, I started this at 4:30, between 4 and 4:30 this morning. Started cooking it, preparing it, and that's about where we're at right now. So when you go to fix this for yourself, don't feel like, oh, it's never going to get done, because you've got to set aside at least 5 hours when you're going to do this. I'm going to show you the clock right now. It's 7:30. So hang in there. Just keep stirring. Be back in a bit. Okay. Now we're going to take a second here and we're going to show you how to make the seasoning. First of all, we got celery salt, 1.5 ounce little bottle. Okay, and we got another, I got a bottle here, I got labeled Burgoo. We're going to take this little canister of celery salt and we're going to dump it in there just like that. Okay. Then we're going to fill it back up with pepper. Just like that. Pepper. Dump it in there. Okay. And we're going to do, here's some paprika. A little paprika. I can do this one-handed. Yeah, that's what I thought. Paprika wants to make a mess. Okay, now we got paprika. You dump that in there, just like that. And then you fill that up with salt, your little container. Just like that. 1.5 ounce of each. You dump that in there. And then once you got that, and you put your lid on it and you shake it up. This is your Burgoo seasoning. Once you get it all mixed up, then when your soup is just about done, you take about 4 tablespoons of this and sprinkle it into your soup and then stir it up. And then you kind of go by taste. If you want to add about another half a teaspoon or a tablespoon, then you do what you do. But I've found that about 4 tablespoonfuls is just right. Okay, as you can see, she's starting to render down a little bit. Here we are at 8:04, and I've got left to put in tomato sauce and tomatoes, diced up tomatoes. And my tomatoes, a lot of times I'll throw them in the Ninja and hit them a little bit, kind of mince them up a little bit more. And then all we'll have left is the corn. Add the corn last, and then the seasoning. So I'd say probably by 10 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock now, probably by 10 o'clock we'll have Burgoo. So 10:30. So keep stirring. Getting ready to add the tomatoes. Got the petite diced tomatoes. Great value. You don't have to, get all here fancy. We go. It's 8:47. As you can see, it's really starting to come around. I've added the tomatoes and minced them up a little bit. So you kind of gives it a reddish color, but you still got a little bit of tomato in there, you can see, but it's not overbearing. So next I'm going to add a can of tomato sauce. I added a can of tomato sauce. As you can see, it's kind of turned it a little more redder. Starting to look pretty good. Still 8:49. Good hour's worth of stirring left. We'll add the corn here in just a little bit. Now if you see like a big old hunk of skin like you see there, what you can do is take a knife. I'm holding the camera, it's kind of hard to do one-handed, but you can take the knife, a piece of fat cabbage or that skin. If you don't want that skin that big, take your knife and kind of cut it down. If you want it smaller where it don't look like, you know, you got a big old hunk of fat in there or something. Starting to look like Burgoo. It is 9 o'clock, 9:03, and I bumped my heat up a little bit. And this is really critical. You really got to stir. You got to keep it stirred. You can't walk away from it. You got to keep stirring it. If you got two people helping you, it really helps. Really helps on the stirring. The stirring is 90% of what's going on. Okay, I got a bag here of bird's eye sweet corn. We're gonna add it. Add the corn. Stir it up a little bit. Keep it stirring. As you can see, it's taking form. About 9:17, 18. Only thing we got left to do now is seasoning. So keep stirring. Okay, I had another can of tomato soup, so I thought it, you know, looked like it needed a little more tomato sauce. So I added another can of tomato sauce. Kind of turned it a little bit more redder. As you can see, what's it look like? Like Burgoo. It's 9:30. How about that? Keep stirring, and I've turned my heat up a little bit more too. Keep it stirring. I wanted to give you a shot of my big spoon. Wanda picked up for me at a yard sale for 50 cents. Can never have a big enough spoon when you're doing this. And my pan is a Paula Deen, about 3-gallon Paula Deen. So makes some pretty good soup. Still stirring. Looking good. Turn my heat back just a little bit. 9:54. She's looking good. I'm getting ready. I'm on about 10 o'clock, about 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add my seasoning. So hang on. Keep stirring. Keep stirring. Kind of acted like it was thickening up. So I added about a cup of water. Might not have been that much, just a little bit. Okay. I'd say it's done. So we're going to add our seasoning. So I'm going to start off with 3 heaping tablespoons of seasoning. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. Now what I'll do is I'll stir this in. I've cut my heat back. See there? I've cut my heat back. And I'm going to let this cook for another 5-10 minutes or so. It's 10:04. Now I started this around 4 o'clock this morning because there was only one person, me, stirring. So I'm going to let this cook for a little bit, and then I'll get me a little bowl and a spoon, and then I'll do a little taste test and see if I need any more seasoning. I almost forgot another little secret about the special Burgoo. Little liquid smoke. And when you add this, you don't want very much. You just kind of want to scare it a little bit. Just like that. There might have been a half a teaspoon. Now it smells like it came right out of a kettle. It's about 7 minutes after. Haven't tasted it yet. Gonna taste it here in just a little bit. Well, I've pulled the soup off of the burner, so I'm kind of letting it cool. I kind of give it a taste test, and to me it tastes like it needs a little more seasoning. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add a little more seasoning. I'm going to add 1 and around a half. I'm going to stir that up. It looks good. Really good with crackers. Okay, I'm going to stir this up and let her set for a little bit and give her another taste test. Okay, she's just right. You don't want to get overpowering on your seasoning because, you know, somebody might want to add their own little bit of pepper or salt. But I added 4.5 tablespoons. And I've got quite a bit here, so there's a good 2.5-3 gallon here. So here it is, 10:17, and we got Burgoo, and it is good. Don't forget the liquid smoke. Talk to you later. Bye bye.